Today we want to do a quick debrief of the 9th World Water Forum that held in Dakar. When I left here, I promised that I would try to share as much as I can on it, but I have other participants here who were at the who have a better, probably have even much better view of what happened and what they learned. So on today, we're going to have Engineer Benson that will give us the general overview, a little bit about the communication, will join in and provide their own learnings from the various things that they attended. So, well, you know about VIPCG. We're an institution and organization development consulting firm. We've been in the WASH sector for since 2012. We worked on a whole lot of things, but you know that the WASH Academia series is basically our community program that has been set up to help us share knowledge with each other. This is, even though VIPCG is the convener, we all own this. And this bi-weekly program that we run is so that we can gather and discuss key issues and key topics that can help us supercharge the reforms so that we can get the results that we're looking for. So today we're going to be focusing on the 9th World Water Forum, which held in Dakar. It was a good eye-opening, and hopefully we will all learn here and continue the conversation after this. I am going to share part of my screens, and so that you will be seeing where I'm talking from. So as I said, the World Water Forum was held in Dakar, and it started on March 21st and ended on the 26th. It was held at a place called the Dakar Arena, which seemed to be a government installation that is similar to our TINAPA. God willing, TINAPA will rise again, but it was a very impressive setting. And the program was very robust. Participants included government officials, donor and financing agencies. The private sector was highly represented, and WASH professionals from other areas like me. The theme was water security for peace and development. And the program, the way the program was arranged, it was arranged in a way where there was a huge opening ceremony. It was a whole political event. And then it was closed with a huge open ceremony. And the programs were organized in such a way that they were thematic areas. And the thematic areas were such that there was like priority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so I want to go over quickly how every day went, and I will hand over the whole thing to Engineer Benson to take us through a more detailed this thing. So on March 21st, the opening day, what we had was people came in and signed in, and registration. This actually continued throughout except for Friday. And then they had the huge inauguration ceremony for the exhibition. That was a whole area for exhibition where it was like a whole country out there. And so they had a formal inauguration. And then after the inauguration, they then came on to, after the inauguration, then there were the main breakout sessions for CEO panels, the ministerial segment, and the roundtables on means and tools. That was the main items for the day. Then there was like breakout sessions and each day had like mini breakout sessions that was anywhere from up to like 12 events going on simultaneously. So then participants would choose whatever they needed to attend. And so that was how day one went. On day two, we had a celebration of the World Water Day dedicated to groundwater resources. And this was coordinated by UNESCO and the UN water body. No, but sometime in March next year, there's going to be a whole world gathering again at the United Nations on water. So it was timely that the UN was here to join the celebration. And then after that, that was the breakout sessions, and then the Keystone Roundtable on water security and sanitation in the auditorium. On day three, the theme there was water and climate, and it was coordinated by GWP. Then there was breakout programs, like I explained earlier. And then there was this Keystone Roundtable again, and on water and rural development. And in the evening, there was a whole Senegalese social program where we had all kinds of music and dancing and all of that. In the middle of the day, each day, they had a whole lunch program that the program was the lunch was really good. We ate a lot and we ate good food. Anyway, so then day 4 was really the actual really big final day, where it was water, sanitation, gender, and youth. And it was coordinated by the Gates Foundation. Again, that was breakout programs. And the Keystone Roundtable was about cooperation. And then we ended with the cultural and social program again. And day 5 was the closing, which was the Friday, was the closing ceremony. So the learnings were huge. No individual participant could say that they were able to attend every event, because there were so many events. And each day having like 12 events over a clear 4-day program, that meant like you have 50 events in a week so none of us could say that we all attended everything. But I know that Engineer Benson attended a whole lot, which is why he's here, and he attended the high level stuff too. So we're going to turn the table over to Engineer Benson, and he is going to take us through a quick look at the program and tell us the details that we should know. Thank you for listening. Now over to Engineer Benson.
Thank you very much, Vicky. Good morning to everyone on the platform. Let me start by commending VIPCG for, first of all, establishing this WASH Academia platform as an educative a platform for the work sector of our country. Indeed, it has brought out a lot of issues in the past, which I believe many have gained from. I hope you are hearing me. Are you hearing me? Hello? Am I audible?
Your volume is low.
Am I audible?
No, but I can hear him clearly.
Okay, thank you,
okay.
Dr. Nicholas. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I recognize your voice, yes. So let me give a little overview of the World Water Forum. Perhaps let me remove the video so that my bandwidth can carry through. Okay. The World Water Forum, as we all know, is an international event that is usually organized every 3 years by the World Water Council. And the aim of organizing it is, number one, to raise awareness on contemporary water issues and challenges around the world, to generate actions towards solving problems of water in the world. and then also to contribute to improving access to water supply and sanitation. It can also say that it helps to encourage media coverage and so as to bring attention, to water issues and bring about solutions, to water challenges, all over the world. And then also to provide opportunities to develop visions that can be shared, among governments and also agencies, around the world towards forming appropriate partnerships and cooperation that can provide solutions. And that is the aim of establishing the forum. As we know, for many of us that are aware, the first one took place in Marrakesh, Morocco in 1997. And every 3 years, like that has been taking place. The last one before the Senegal event took place in Brazil, Brasilia, Brazil. That was in 2018. I was also privileged to attend that, under the direction of the Honorable Minister. Every year, the forum is arranged, around a theme. There will be a theme, and then sub-teams. The last one, which took place in Brasilia, Brazil, was on sharing water. That was the theme of that forum. For the recent one that took place in Senegal, the theme was water security for peace and development, just as was explained by Vicky, just some moments ago. Now, the way the forum is organized is in about 4 ways, which is usually what we have in the program. The first part would be to have the thematic program. That means to work on the theme, which this year was on water security for peace and development. And then you now have sub-teams. And there are 4 sub-teams for this year. The first one is on water security and sanitation. The second one is on water for rural development. The third one is on cooperation and partnerships. And then the last one is on means and tools of implementation. So this is the thematic program, and all discussions will be centered around these 4 sub-teams towards achieving the objective of the main theme. There's also the second component, which has to do with the political process, in which the opportunity is given to elected officials, ministers, parliamentarians, local authorities around the world. And this is where usually they bring out, statements and commitments, to water issues, around the world. And I believe the statements and the commitments that were made at the Senegal World Water Forum will be shared, very soon before we finish this session. Also, the third component of the World Water Forum has to do with the regional process. We look at sub-regions. For example, we may look at West African as a sub-region, which we look at perspectives of water from the different regions and compare and contrast what is going on and the challenges that each region is facing. And of course, the last but not the least one is the Expo. We actually this fair and the Expo, which give opportunity and space for all stakeholders to showcase, new technologies, and new developments, and make their contributions to water development around the world. So this is how World Water Forum is usually structured every year. This year, we must first of all commend the government of Senegal for the success of the 9th World Water Forum. It was adjudged one of the best. In fact, it attracted a round of applause for them. And for all of us that were there, we were all impressed, with the way the program was organized by the government of Senegal. As mentioned by Vicky, Of course, they have brand new facilities, which were developed purposely, to host that forum. As a regular person, I've been going to Senegal for many years. I saw that Senegal has really developed beyond what we used to know of them. A brand new airport, dual carriageway, created the arena where they had, the opening program that was attended by their president and many other presidents, that were also there, prime ministers. And of course, the Abdul Diouf International Conference Center, is of a very high international standard. Actually, we were all impressed. There was no any issues at all through the period in terms of the presentations, in terms of the programs, in terms of the fair and expo. There was enough space, and then I think Senegal made Africa proud, through that. And we are quite happy about that. In terms of the participation, we were led to that event by the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman H. Adamo, who himself participated actively in many of the segments. And of course, we had the privilege to accompany him to many of the side events, bilateral discussions, and of course, presentations at the auditorium. Of course, we had a state governor that also participated. The governor of Taraba State was there. Some state commissioners, and then some heads of agencies, from the country were there. One thing I didn't see any of our parliamentarians that participated, but I saw many parliamentarians from other countries, that also accompanied, their ministers and other, officials to participate at the forum. I must say at the end of it all that it was a huge success. And our discussion today, which I believe I'll give opportunity to other participants that are already on the platform to contribute to, will center around what we brought home as a country. What did we gain from the forum? And I believe I'm going to summarize at the end of the day, but I want to give opportunity to other participants at the forum to make their contributions. And then we are going to go through the statements that came out of the forum, and of course the commitment, that was agreed to at the forum. So let me stop here and give opportunity to others to contribute. Thank you very much. Vicky, over to you.
All right, so we have in the room Ogatime. Do you want to come in and do some sharing?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Oh, good. All right. We were waiting for your contribution as to your key learnings and stuff.
Okay, thank you for, for the opportunity to speak. Good morning, Engineer Benson. Thank you for that introduction. I was hoping that I would be one of those speaking much later, because the agenda on the list that was sent around showed that there were other people speaking before me.
Okay, what do you want to
I said that
later?
No, I said that not because I'm not ready to speak. I said that because when I look at that list, I appear like one of the persons who, yes, consultant to government and yourself, of course, but the other three persons on this list are government persons. So my views are a bit from the civil society, private sector perspective. They will contribute to helping us to strengthen what Nigeria is about and what Nigeria should be doing. Yourself and Engineer Benson has given us a very glorious report of the accomplishments of Senegal. And we have seen the level of participation from Nigeria. But there are still a lot that have not, that needs to be said about our participation and preparations for these kinds of meetings. So That's why I wanted for us to have heard, the feedback from government officials so that we soak that in before we can start talking about areas of improvement. But if they are not online, I can go ahead and make my comments. Okay, so let me go ahead and just speak. Let me go ahead and just do my reflections. Thank you very much once again, and thank you once again to the campaigns. As a consultant, I will be very nuanced in my narrative. I attended several sessions, like Vicky and Engineer Benson mentioned. I didn't take account of the number of sessions that were held, but I think that we had about probably 15 to 30 sessions every day, maybe 30 sessions every day. So times 5 days, that's quite a lot of sessions to attend. So everybody had to be focused on what they wanted to attend. I didn't attend Monday because I arrived only on Monday afternoon, and looking for accommodation and all that, or sorry, getting into our accommodation took quite a lot. So I didn't attend Monday. So I started attending from Tuesday, and I chose sessions that I thought will benefit myself, my organization, and the country as a whole. One of the first sessions I attended was the session that was organized by the World Bank that has to do with the policy, institutional, and regulatory enablers. We all know that Nigeria is running on salt wash at this time, and we need to have some kind of understanding of how this PRI operates. So I attended that session. I got a lot of feedback, a lot of lessons, and a lot of knowledge from that session. Sorry, I can hear feedback. Can people please mute the microphone if they are not speaking?
Yeah.
Well, I'm the only one speaking at the moment, so please. On the background. Thank you. So I attended that session. I listened to countries like Spain, Niger, Senegal talk about their reforms and the progress they have made with their reforms. I heard Zambia talk about reforms for regulation in sanitation, and also heard the OECD talk about the Water Governance Initiative and the 12 OECD water governance principles that have been rolled out. All of these things are quite exciting to hear about, and opportunities for us as a country to learn, and particularly for myself. I've taken sumptuous notes, which I can use for my business and for the consultancy work we are doing. The second session that I remember attending was on peaceful development approach in the Niger and Lake Chad basins. This session was also quite useful. It was useful for me in the sense that it gave me a clear understanding. I mean, at the last water conference in Benin, I was the keynote speaker. Listening to this session organized by GIZ also broadened my view of these challenges that we have with desertification, desertification, climate change, and environmental resource depletion. And the challenges that is beyond just Nigeria, and it's across Africa, actually. And that session was also trying to look at the impact of water on peace and security, and the need for the water sector to build a partnership with other sectors to improve water resource management, to enhance peace and security. This becomes very, very important for us if we look at the fact that the Chad Basin, Maiduguri, Borno area, consequence. And if we know that because of the desertification and climate change across the north, there's a trigger for movement for more of herdsmen towards the south. The purpose is water resources. They are looking for water and grazing land and pastures for their flock. And you cannot stop them from doing that. Nobody will sit down and let them. I was saying that this session was useful for my understanding of the wider dimensions of the impact of climate change and desertification across the north of Nigeria, in fact, across the north of Africa, and how this is pushing headers further down south and creating the kind of conflicts we're having, not just in the Borno area, but also in Benue, Oyo, and the rest of our country. And the reasons why we as a country, as the sector in charge of water resources, must work with other sectors to help generate pasture and help generate peaceful collaboration across these regions to mitigate and prevent conflicts in these areas. And the panelists, of course, we're speaking from experience, as we gave various kinds of steps to help achieve these kinds of situation. I also attended, I could go on with sessions that I attended, but I don't think that that's not of benefit to a lot of people. I will just speak on one more.
Go ahead, Timain. Please
I should go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, fine, thank you. So I see that the conversations that took place in these sessions were quite useful, not just for practitioners in the wash sector, but also for researchers. Several researchers were in the place, and I spoke to some of them. And of course, also to the work of the river basins. So we have the Chad Basin Authority. A few Nigerians were in the room from the Chad Basin Authority. I made contact with some of them. In fact, one of them emailed me yesterday. And, so that's helping to build networks and relationships across some of these basins as well, these issue areas. I also attended a session on localizing multi-stakeholder partnerships for sustainable resilience and inclusive water resources management. People may know me as somebody who is into proper water services or sanitation services, but I chose this opportunity to learn more about water resources and the impact, because in preparing my keynote address for the Benin Water Conference last year, I got a bit more exposed to the challenges that we are going to face going forward. So this question of herders and farmers conflict will not stop. Climate change is going, and the trigger for movement will continue. Rains, they don't come into Abuja. In fact, we've only had one rain in Abuja in this year. That tells us that there probably has not been rain in Kano or Sokoto or in Medjugorje in this year. So if there have been, maybe they have also had one rain or two. Can we please mute? Can we please, Edwina? Please. So we find a situation where these issues will continue to face us, and we cannot keep making it a political issue by shouting our throat out. We have to do something to address this problem. It's a climate problem. We have to put mitigation measures in place. And I think this issue of the work of our river basin authorities, our Ministry of Water Resources, who is the head host of these river basin authorities, and of course, our Ministries of Agriculture, and of course, the state governments. We've had challenges with our state governments when we talk about providing water for people. I hope that we will not have more challenges when we're talking now about water resources management. But much more importantly, we have almost as a sector not stood up for the water resources bill that is in the National Assembly. And that water resources bill, if it has its faults, those faults need to be amended to accommodate actions that will enable us run river basins authorities in a collaborative and partnership, rather than autocratic and measures of managing it. Because if we manage our water resources well, this is my lesson from the conversations and the sessions that I attended. If we manage our water resources well, the water resources that we have in Nigeria is enough to provide for industry, for households, for herders, for farmers, for everybody. But that must be because we have a very credible, locally directed participatory processes for managing water. Lessons I learned from that multi-stakeholder partnership. I will speak now generally on some of the, as a business person who was in that place, and just to, I say this because I want to inspire other business people and consultants in this group, even other professionals who are working as civil servants today. You may want to go out sometimes. I'll come to this fact later. We may want to begin to think about attending this kind of meetings in future. It gave me opportunity to meet people that I've known before, some of them I've not seen for 5-6 years since I've been back in Nigeria, and to rebuild relationships. In fact, it's one of those relationships that sponsored me to go to Dakar. I didn't pay from my pocket. Somebody from Kenya sponsored my trip. Organizationally, of course, it's an individual who I'd worked with very closely, who just called me out from the blues and his organization sponsored my trip. So building networks and relationships with people outside of Nigeria is quite beneficial. And I renewed new contacts or old contacts, and I made new contacts. One, of course, of which is my contacts with WaterAid headquarters and the regional office in Dakar. I also had opportunities of discussing with AFWA, the African Water Association. Their headquarters is based in Dakar, and they had several sessions. I attended 2 of their sessions. I had the opportunity of discussing with them on the proposed program that they hope to run in Nigeria on sanitation. And that program is supposed to help Nigerian states or Nigerian towns to twin with towns from Kenya, from South Africa, from Uganda, from South Africa, and from Zambia on how to improve fecal sludge management in Nigeria. So that was a very good opportunity for that discussion. I also went into the bids for Suez Water. I've known Suez Water. They are a private sector organization. They run very good programs across the world, managing big private sector water towns. But they also have pro-poor, or what should I call, development interventions. So I went to speak to them in the hope that we can find a way to bring Suez to Nigeria to help demonstrate to our water utilities that water services can pay and can be profitable, because I know they do it outside of this country. And that conversation was also fruitful. I was taking that forward with with Suez management going forward. I spoke to several groups on fecal sludge management. Some of them produce and deploy sewerage or sludge treatment plants. I won't give names of organizations now. Some of them do decentralized wastewater treatment plants. Statistics tell us that only 5 to 10% of our cities and towns have wastewater treatment plants. In some other countries, developing countries, including Senegal, India, Ghana, we have waste treatment plants now covering close to 30–40% of their towns and villages. Ghana, for example, I spoke to some of the operators from Ghana. I spoke to somebody from Sewage Systems Ghana Limited. Accra is now deploying sewage treatment facilities and creating wealth from fecal sludge in the city of Accra. And then, of course, there are others like the Ban Ki-moon organization, Green Growth International is a new organization that the former UN Secretary General has established, Nature Conservancy, and a few others like that. So the exhibition was an opportunity to meet people who are there to do business with wash professionals. So this takes me to my last area of thoughts and conversation. I think it was a very good plus for Nigeria that our Honorable Minister was present and he went with the directors from the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. I think that was a very good one. And several of the sessions, the minister spoke excellently about what we're doing in Nigeria. It was in very high-placed panels. I attended 2 or 3 of such panels where the minister spoke. So I want to commend the minister and his those sessions. But I see also that we had a few mixed opportunities. So those are the ones that I say I'm coming from the perspective of either a private sector person or a CSO person. And it pains me as a Nigerian that we have these kinds of opportunities next door to us and we are not taking advantage of them. One of the missed opportunities is the learning. So for myself, I've learned quite a lot. And I know that several Nigerians, of course, were there. I met some civil society people at the airport. We never really saw again at the meetings because the meeting was so big. I'm not sure what numbers were, but I think we'll be close to 5,000, if not more than 3,000, attending that conference. So you could get lost if you are not in telephone contact with them. So there must have been several Nigerians, but I did not see a concerted effort of us targeting to learn from these opportunities. If we will count on our fingertips, we'll probably count 3 or 4 general managers from our water corporations. This is an opportunity, for example, where the MD Forum, I think we have one MD Forum under the Nigerian Water Sanitation Association. The MDs Forum should have gone to this kind of place en masse because there are good lessons. Like I said, my first intervention or report was on PIR about how to reform your utilities, for example. Yeah, we should have organized to get these people to these kinds of meeting. Beyond them as well, of course, we also have our rural agencies. There were many sessions of rural presentations and rural water. I think a lot of us will have benefited from. The other area that I think we have missed is our exhibition. We didn't quite showcase Nigeria properly. Our exhibition stand, without being rude, was the worst stand in that place. We had nothing to display that was really worth the while. It probably just showed that we were not prepared. It's either we were not prepared or we had nothing to show for it. Nigeria is the biggest country, biggest economy in Africa. We cannot keep behaving as if we are the most unorganized people on earth. And for the sector, it's painful. I got there once and I was too ashamed to go back there again. I couldn't even take a photograph in the Nigerian booth. Go to that booth, you would think that there are some exotic exhibition stands that have been imported from some other places. Is it money that we didn't have to do that, or is it that we didn't prepare? So I think that is something that we should take forward next time and prepare for. We have 3 years to the next one. Probably if we are going to Sweden, we should also do something similar. I've never really seen a Nigerian booth that stands up to scratch, really. So maybe I've not gone to enough places where we have been as a Nigerian exhibiting, but this one I was there and I didn't like it. That's my sincere position. The other area that we could have exhibited ourselves very well is to actually organize sessions, several sessions about the issues that concerns them so that they can learn from other countries. Most of the sessions we attended were by invitation to the Honorable Minister. Nigeria had no session, they didn't plan any session. Stockholm Water Week, what do you call it? Stockholm International Water Week ago, we had a session that was organized by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. That was a brilliant session. I don't know why we didn't organize one for this particular session, event, which was supposed to be an opportunity to meet with the private sector. Because World Water Forum is run by the private sector. And we need private sector engagement in Nigeria. We cannot keep doing the things as if it's only government that is responsible for water in Nigeria. And that's why we probably are not making as much success. So I will speak on those two issues on about showcasing of Nigeria. And lastly, it's about networking. That's the last point I probably will want to talk about. Like I said before, I've given you examples of the networks that I've built or that I've renewed because of this. Many more of us. Yes, I was sponsored by somebody else and it's quite expensive to go to these meetings. This is an opportunity for the federal government, the state government, and all private sector entities in Nigeria who are in water sector to give grants and opportunities for people in Nigeria to attend these kinds of meetings. You see, no country will grow beyond their knowledge. We will keep doing what we know. And if we keep doing what we know, we will not move out of these states where we are. For us to move out of these states, we need new knowledge. It's like, you know, like they say about this, the Dead Sea. It receives, but it never gives out. It never goes elsewhere to see what others are doing. Let Nigeria or Nigerian water sector people be sponsored by federal government, by state government, by private sector entities. Let there be a vote and a budget for this. These kinds of meeting, not just civil servants, private sector entities, civil society people, consultants, be selected, 5, 10, sponsored to attend these kinds of meetings. We also, as consultants and private sector people, should also put our money aside to plan for this kind of meetings because of the lessons and knowledge that we're going to get. Besides this, when we get to these forums, it's an opportunity for us, like I've said before, to develop new business networks, to people and have meetings with them on the possibility of them coming to Nigeria. I've spoken to 1 or 2 grant opportunities at this meeting, which I'm sure will come to fruition. So on this point, I want to stop. We need to be smarter as Nigerians and take opportunities that come our way. For me, the most critical thing is that knowledge is invaluable. If we don't seek new knowledge, if we don't seek new ways of doing things, we'll continue to do things the way we are doing them now, and we'll remain in the position where we are. We need to expose ourselves, we need to improve ourselves for us to grow faster and meet the targets that we've set for ourselves. Thank you, Mark.
All right, so what I am going to do is to try and quickly go through the communique or the declaration.
The convener, please.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
was not at the meeting, but I want to suggest something
Yes.
to support what the last speaker, Engineer Timei just echoed down. My thinking is that from what Engineer Timei has just told us, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources has been coordinating all the states all along. Even this kind of a program, they can have a meeting where they invite all the MDs of water agencies and ask them for their list of challenges. They know how to coordinate and bring everything together. And then maybe few of them will be permitted by their different government to attend. Those few will be able to speak on behalf of others. And then they'll be able to learn from other African countries what they are doing differently that is making their agencies to progress. Then from there, they can learn and then adopt and adapt whatever is necessary or possible in the situation in their own state when they come. I can recollect when Engineer Benson led us to Colombia and Brazil. When we came back, he organized a forum where they invited some of these house members who are in charge of utilities. They brought all of them together in an hotel in Lagos. And they told us to share our experience and what we saw in Colombia. And from there, that was where some of them said, they now see the importance of not making water free. Others still believe because they were politicians that it should be free. But by the time we spoke and told them what we saw, they agree with us that they will go back to their state and sing the same song. So I think the federal government, they have been doing a lot, but they should still continue so that they can. And then from there, one or two states, one or two governors, we want to. So I think these are the ways you can go about when you go out on international programs that others can share. It will not only be you, your state and other states can even learn from you too later. Thank you.
Okay, this is a great suggestion. It's not too late. We have the director of planning, even if she's listening.
Vicky?
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
Vicky?
Yes, sir.
I think there are some hands up. We have Francis Manager and Dr. Nicholas who wants to contribute also. Please give them the.
Okay, Dr. Nicholas, I was just going to reiterate what she said, that we should organize to feedback the larger circle of this sector based on the learnings. But okay, so we are going to have Dr. Mamezia, do you want to go first? Can you unmute yourself? Yes.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I want to start by congratulating all that attended the program. I also want to say my kudos to the people that are presented so far. I think I'm highly impressed. Timei made very heart-blowing points. You see, Nigerians showing interest in attending some of these things, these programs. We don't know if everything should not be based on money. There is need to acquire knowledge. There's a serious knowledge gap in what is being done globally from what we are doing. And he has highlighted it even by drawing attention to the stand which Nigeria, the exhibition Nigeria presented. I want to say further that I shared this information early. I started sharing it early so that those who could apply to their governments could just begin early, because I know the bureaucracy in getting approval. But many did not do anything. And like the last speaker made a point, I will request those in the federal ministries to innovate an approach by which states can be carried along. I know that from the federal, apart from some individuals I don't know, from Federal Ministry of Water Resources alone, and 2 from Delta, and then 1 from Imo, and then Taraba, we had 36 Nigerians at the program, and I told them to meet.
Somebody, please look at your mic, please. Mic is on, please.
I tried to reach Afua to organize, to have a time with all Nigerians that attended. I was networking on that, though I didn't attend. But the 2 people, Engineer Oko and the PS of Taraba, I asked to help coordinate Nigerians. It's like they could not do it. And Afua was waiting. I know that Dr. Kemfa was waiting to have an interactive session with them. I always make these plans so that those that come will come back with something. I want the comments that Benson and Timmy have just made, including yours, madam. And I know more people have many things to say. I think the thing is that Nigerians should be encouraged, and states should, we should find a way to encourage states to drive states to encourage their members, their staff, to attend these things, because our water system is a holistic thing. It's a national issue, in spite of the fact that it's based on state supplies. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Nicholas, do you want to go now?
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Vicky. And I'm not even sure where to start from, because Timeni had just said a lot that really touched me. But I want to say that we have to learn to do things differently. I'm not sure how many of us that are aware that this year is for Africa. The World Water Forum just happened in Dakar, and the World Toilet Summit is happening in Nigeria for the first time. The first time it happened in Africa was in South Africa in 2012. And not too long ago, I was instrumental to pleading with Jackson that Nigeria should host this year November World Toilet Summit. But we have not even started. The Honorable Minister of Water Resources is doing his bit, but I think we need the likes of Engineer Benson that will be in that water resources now to drive all this, whatever that Mr. Timeni had just said, and some of the things that we are discussing here today. Otherwise, we're still going to be going around in circles. Let me say that I wish it's possible for us to reduce the age of Engineer Benson and he goes back to the ministry. Because yes, I was in Stockholm. A few years ago with him. Maybe if there is any way we can do that, I'm sure maybe he can go and swear some affidavit or so that he made a mistake in his age. I haven't said that because I remember what Timeni said is very, very critical. We had one of the best stand. It was actually called private sector or PPP stand. Remember, Engineer Benson was not just the director for water supply, he was also the director for the PPP. Yeah, for PPP. So that stand, everybody, Lake Steel of Japan, many people, I was there as well, Timeni gave presentation and so on. It was something else that people kept on talking about. Even that Lake Steel is supporting UNICEF and Nigeria today was a spin-off from that particular event. So hearing that Nigeria actually had a stand, in fact, there was no preparation, there was no multi-stakeholders partnership to say, let us even come together, maybe convened by the Federal Minister of Water Resources, which I'm sure Engineer Benson would have done if he was there, to say, okay, how do we go to Dakar and what lessons are we going to learn, from Dakar? Until we start understanding the key words that we have used here today: multi-stakeholders, partnership, collaboration, and lastly, flexibility from the side of the government. The government should also be flexible and understand that they cannot do this alone without the CSO's partnership, private sector, partnerships, and others. If they want to hold everything to themselves alone, we'll still be where we are especially in the wash sector and maybe other sectors of the economy. So I want to congratulate some of us that that went out there to say that we should not lose hope. Timeyi, you spoke very frankly, and rather, what we'll do is maybe I will reach out to you at the end of the day to see how some of us here will be part of the planning committee, which I'm sure the memo is on the table of the Honorable Minister, and I'm sure he will do a good job in terms of making sure that everybody is carried along and become part of the planning committee for the World Toilet Summit. Let's use that opportunity to also bring in our lessons from Dakar, bring to Nigeria, because we'll also be expecting lots of delegates from other African countries, from the rest of the world, and so on and so forth, where we'll be able to leave a legacy in Nigeria that will last for a long time in terms of this is what Nigeria can do. And hopefully other countries will also have this kind of briefing, and say, okay, this is what we have learned, from Nigeria, exhibitions, partnerships, and others. Thank you so much, Madam Vicky, for putting this together. And thank you so much, the people that went there and others. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Oga Nicholas. Okay, we are going to go to Sam Adejo. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here. Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. And I wish to congratulate everyone that attended this meeting. And I think it goes a long way to show one of the problems that we've had in this sector, that of coordination, whether it is program coordination, whether it's strategic coordination in the country. I think what has played out in Dakar, Senegal, shows the fact that there is still problem with coordination in the sector. And some of us who didn't go, some of us who saw, when some of us saw some of the postings you made earlier, the questions were, what are our expectations as a country going to Dakar? And then what are we going to showcase in Dakar? And what are we bringing back from Dakar? It is nice that we have various outcomes, various inputs. I'm sure we'll be able to collate that later and probably get something substantial out of it. But let me say this. It could have been a national approach going to Dakar, meaning that everybody is coming under one umbrella. But it also could have been sectoral approach, meaning that, okay, the private sector were going, the public institutions were going. Matters or programmatic matters going to Dakar. For example, we have challenges. We have things like the clean Nigeria going on. And see, it is also possible, and I think it is necessary sometimes to call each other out. And let me thank Timeyi, my good friend, for a very long time for his good presentation. And I also want to hold him responsible for the fact that some of these things were not coordinated. For example, as a national coordinator on the program within Nigeria, he could have rallied the people he's working with and said, okay, we are taking something to Dakar, and presented that to the governor. I expected the Clean Nigeria project to say, okay, we are going forward to take something to Dakar. I expected the CSO, especially those who are supporting the sector, for example, UNICEF and then the rest of them, coming together to say we are going. There is the National Sanitation Tax Group. How come they didn't get together to say they are going to Dakar? So there are a lot of questions, but I mean, we are not going to go back to say, okay, blame anybody. For example, Upwash, Igwe just spoke just now. What did the organized private sector try to put together? What did the organized private sector try to put together, led by Igwe? So this is not a blame game, but okay, looking forward to what we are going to do the next time. For example, the World Toilet coming to Nigeria. So it needs to go. And I want to appeal also that when we are saying, okay, maybe Aji Shegiri should come back to the sector, you don't have to perpetually stay in the sector to make your contribution. You can still be out of the sector and make contribution. Okay, so a lot of things going for Nigeria, but we need to come together to articulate things to go forward. There was a suggestion sometime on this platform, on this network. There was a suggestion a couple of weeks ago on this platform, whether the Nigerian wash professional should try to organize themselves into a statutory body to be recognized. I think time has come to take a look at it. So coming from where we are and going forward, I think we need to coordinate this sector better. And there are responsible institutions, responsible organizations, responsible programs. I think we need to call them to do better than what has happened. Thank you so much, Vicky, for organizing.
Thank you, sir. Do we have someone else that needs to speak that can help us? Well, okay. On that note, I am going to quickly go over the communique which the issued at the end of the whole thing. The communique was issued by, well, on behalf of everyone that supposedly were the attendees at the program. Just like Timei said, we all attended so many different sessions that it's even hard to keep track of what you learn from each session. We're having to go back now and look at our notes to see what we gained. For me, a major thing that came out for me was that as I was attending session after session, there was always the talk about the key beneficiaries being women and children for water and the sanitation and where it intercepts with the health issues that we're having and all of that, and how the conflicts that we are having around water, have origins on water and all of that. So I attended a few of the women's, I think 2 of the women's sessions. And one of the key things that came out was, if women are indeed considered part of the key demographics, in fact, the key demographics that benefit from improved water supply and better sanitation services, it follows that women should also be groomed to be in the decision-making board, in the decision-making positions of service delivery organizations or institutions, as well as the policy-making institutions. What I saw with my own eyes was that most of the people that were physically visible in terms of presentations and all of that were men. So it underscored 2 things. One is that more room needs to be made at the table for women. The second part was that we needed to build competence among women so that they can take their place at the table when more room is made. So I spoke to several organizations, including UNICEF and the African Women in WASH, and so many other organizations about the possibility of developing the women's leadership pipeline for the WASH sector, probably doing it for not just one country, but for all of Africa, so that women can start to move forward, not just so that they're given a place at the table just to have women, but to so that we can put forward competent women to take their seats at the table. And so that's one of the things that came up for me. The second thing that came up for me, which I raised when the minister made his presentation, very good presentation, by the way, at the Nigerian booth, was that the federal government seems to be shouldering the championing of the reforms. The federal government is very active in coming up with initiatives, coming up with innovations, looking for different ways to approach the reforms, and working hard on the funding partners to bring in the money. We need to find a way to get the states to work, even if not as hard as the federal government, through the Ministry of Water Resources, but we need to find a way to get the states to step forward, step up their efforts as well. We all know how a lot of things fall through during implementation, because implementation is done at the state level. And we saw, I also talked to several countries also, and we saw the role that the states play. The fact that our state representatives showed up on their own without seeming to work with the federal government, so each state, several states, some of the state water agencies, the heads of state water agencies showed up. Some of their board chairs also showed up at the event, and they showed up on their own as if they are separate from Nigeria. It didn't go down well. Our minister, when he was speaking, it took a while before we started to get a critical mass at the booth. And the stuff that he talked about was all very, very important stuff. He talked about the achievements, the directions that they were headed, that the reforms are headed. He spoke at length about what they call it, the cross-border water issues. He had present there the water person from, or the wash person from ECOWAS present, and I think somebody else from AFDB was also present. But we needed for us to be there to have his back, and we didn't. And whatever it was that led to that, we can all sort of like get ready to address that before the World Toilet Day comes, so that we will step forward. We are one country, no matter how much our problems are, no matter how dissatisfied we are, we're still one country. Let's act as one. Especially when we're facing the world, Nigeria used to be that country that would act as one. So we can now make a resolution to approach the ministry to say, as you're getting ready for the World Water Day, the World Toilet Day, we want everybody on board. We want a committee that comprises of the ministry, the state governments, the state utilities, the private sector, consultants and contractors, so that we can have an event that is befitting to this nation. The other thing that I saw, the Bible says that thou shalt not covet, but I truly coveted the attention that Egypt, India got. India got that coveted award for their, whatever they were doing with the whole wash and the toilet thing. And they got a whole session. They got to present how they did that whole toilet campaign program that they did. And it was like, I was looking at it and I was thinking, we can better this. We can do even better than this. So it's a motivation for us to try to do better. We can do better than India did. And I think that we want to approach the World Toilet Day, like, let us be able to showcase what we can do or what we have done, and so that Nigeria's name will not be silent in the halls anymore like this one. The other theme that came out is being able to organize something so that we can have members of the political structure present, so that they can learn about what we saw in Dakar. And just like they used to, which Mrs. Agbeo suggested, we can take that up too with the ministry. and see what they can do so that we can have a one-day event and we can do a debrief like this. We can call this our rehearsal. And the next one now led by the ministry, we can now go forward and debrief to the whole nation. And a key thing that Timaine talked about was the support for the national water bill, whatever it is that we need to do to kind of get that through. Let's work on it as a nation. We have to move the reforms forward. It is the reason that we are organized, that VIPCG is organizing this WASH Academia. It's not particularly, as if you have attended several times, you will see that we have everybody coming in to present, because we think that we all need to work together to move the reforms forward. That said, that's my commentary on everything that has been said. I'm going to go on and share my screen and then just talk through the, share my screen and talk through the communique, or what they call the declaration. The declaration was made on behalf of all the stakeholders, and that declaration had a 9-point agenda on it, and I'm trying to get my people to help me out here. Based on the 4 priority areas that they have: water security and sanitation, cooperation, water and rural development means and tools. And the declaration was issued at the end of the whole program. So I'm going to quickly kind of go through the declaration, and so that we can all see which ones would help us in our country. And my people are trying to figure out what to do. Okay, so I'm having
Vicky, sorry, Vicky, to interject.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so while you're just trying to put up your screen, I was just wondering if, I mean, talking through the declaration is fine, but I'm wondering whether that's a good use of our time. It's a political declaration. There's nothing we discuss here that will change it. I think it's something that the Federal Ministry and the National Council on Water can deal with. Perhaps we can send the copy to everybody who is on this group. You can talk through it just for general notice, but no conversation here will change anything on that declaration. The federal government has to take a lead on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Timaine. I was going to advise Vicky. They're the same way. Vicky, just summarize, and then we can share it later on the platform for people to download. Thank you.
Okay. All right, sir. Okay, so the advice is to basically just quickly go over what the declaration is. So as they titled it the Blue Seal, the Blue Deal for Water Security and Sanitation, and is a 9-point declaration. And the first one was that water is essential. Water is essential for the survival of nature and people. And they basically are saying that they will work, they are committing to work to address the challenges of water and sanitation so that there's immediate improvement. The third point is an affirmation to continue to chase the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. And the next point is that there's a resolution 64292 of 2010, the Paris Climate Agreement, that they would they would basically chase that too. And then they're reaffirming the relevance of the Africa Agenda 2063 and the Africa Water Vision for 2025 on access to water resources and quality sanitation throughout all of Africa. They are determined to, should I be saying we? Okay, we are determined to fulfill our shared vision and to make sure that all people have access to safe drinking water and sanitation and basic sanitation services as a human right. And they are also aware of the resilience in the face of the climate and demographic changes and food and health, and they will fight against water stress and to ensure availability of quality water in the right quantities to ensure health of all nations. They are recognizing the urgent need to pay more attention to water issues in rural areas so that they can reduce the inequalities and create opportunities for youth and women and foster development. They are concerned about funding gaps for investment in the sector, especially targeting if we are targeting to achieve the SDGs. That really is the summary of everything, right? Oh, number 10, they are aware of the need to use water as a tool for cooperation for peace, solidarity between peoples of all regions and all countries. That's it.
Vicky.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Vicky.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think just like you are sharing, as I said, it would be nice to just share this one on the platform so that everyone can download later. Okay, because we have about 26 points, of that, yes, covering 5 different areas. Yes, it's the first one, which is what we have read, has to do with guaranteeing the right to water sanitation for all, and then to ensure availability of the resources and resilience, to ensure adequate funding, and then to ensure inclusive water governance, to enhance cooperation. Those are the 5 areas that the communique covered. And I think by the time they all download, they can read the details there. The most important one actually has to do with that the government of Republic of Senegal and World Water Council were asked to ensure that they submit the declaration to the United Nations 2023 Water Conference, which they all were committed to at the end of it all. The government of the Republic of Senegal, apart from that, also gave us hope by raising a high-level panel, for fundraising to be shared by their president, alongside together with other presidents. They gave a lot of hopes that the funding gaps that were mentioned, perhaps through that will be covered. So I want to say that at least what you have shared are things that everyone should please take time to go through. And I believe our government too, the federal government that have a copy of it, will be acting on that. Let me come in because I have other things to go and do. I want to thank all those that have made contributions, especially the feedback we got from Mr. Timei, about his front talk on how we should be representing our country in future, international events. I want to say that this is a very good platform, and we should harness all these views, and submit it to government, as advice as to how the water sector should be better coordinated in future, international forum. I thank Dr. Wimezia also for his contribution, Dr. Igwe and Dr. Okedi, I'd like to assure you, because I have retired, but I'm still very, very much active. I'm not tired yet. And whichever capacity they involve me, whatever they ask me to do, I'm always ready to contribute to development of the sector, because I spent my whole more active year in this sector, and I will continue to contribute to my quota to the sector. This is a very good forum, and this is a very good session that we have had today. This is the first time that we'll go for international, event, and we now be debriefing to those that did not have opportunity to participate at such events, and to make them to contribute, or to make them to be aware of what that went on, at such events. So I commend you, Vicky, for putting it together. And I believe by the time we put this report together, we have a very, very proactive minister. Our honorable minister is always very open and to receive advice from any quarter that will be beneficial to the sector. So please let us harness this as quickly as possible. The World Toilet Day is coming up, and then we should approach it holistically. And God will help us to make it a success. Thank you very much.
Sorry. I want to quickly acknowledge the presence of, we have people from East Africa on WASH Academia for the first time. We have Willis. Willis is the CEO of WestNet, and they are from Malawi. They are on the program today. So let's give them a resounding Nigerian welcome to our colleagues from Malawi. Willis, can you hear us? Can you unmute yourself so we can welcome you guys? I'm looking for him on the list. Well,
welcome to our colleague.
Yes. So we have WestNet also, and WestNet is from Malawi. Can you unmute yourself, the people? We're struggling. Willis, are you there now?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I'm here. I'm here. Good. I've been here. Yes. Okay. Yeah. It has been a very useful forum. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to get us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. The quick feedback is that it has been a very good forum, very useful. We also use some of the issues that have been raised during this meeting when debriefing some of the high-level authorities in Malawi. Thank you, and over.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Control the floor open. Who else wants to speak? Thank you for coming in. I hope we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
For sure, I will be there.
Okay, sir.
Kate has also been online, yeah? Has been there.
Okay.
I think, and a couple of people from Malawi joined this.
Yes, we're seeing that. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have people whose hands are up who want to make contributions before we close? We still got like, how many minutes? 20 minutes. Okay. So, Barry, do we have anybody who has hands up? Anybody has questions, comments that we should tackle before we go out?
There's no other person. Let's see if we read the questions in the comments in the chats.
Yes, okay. Why don't we go over the chats? Where's the chats?
Okay. Muslim Idris said, we pray we learn from the gaps and move forward regarding that Nigeria is hosting the World Unification Day this year. There is need for coordination and collaboration. Okay, the need for coordination and collaboration is highly, okay, from Muslim Idris, talking about that Nigeria is hosting the World Unification Day this year. So there is need for multi-sectoral coordination. Okay, there's another statement here. Timeyi's position on the benefit gained from networking is noteworthy. You know, Mr. Timeyi talked about the networking value of that forum in Dakar. He said the stakeholders should note the points made on the need to take advantage of these gatherings, conferences to enhance our knowledge with a view to boost our performances. As AFUA focal person, I will continue to share information. Okay. Another statement from NECA is, if all sectors or subsector leaders are living their roles, there will be better coordination and output and impact. Okay, if all the sectorial leaders are, you know, acting out their roles, there will be better coordination. I think those are the high points from the chat box.
Okay.
Some other person suggested that we will not be able to get government presentation if there is no proper protocol of inviting them to come and speak.
Well, you know, Ebere, we submitted an invitation to the ministry and is winding its way through the government structure. We've been on them to try to get them into the WASH Academia. We're going to go back and try to chase that paper to make sure that they are here next. Because I think that the Federal Ministry of Water Resources is doing a good job. They're working very hard, you know, and we just need to get the state to catch up. That's all.
Okay, there is one more comment I would like to read before handing over to you. There's no name, just an iPhone. So this is indeed an awesome initiative. For those of us that were not in Dakar, it has presented us with an overview of the event outcomes that should chart the course of action into the near future. Hopefully our next showing at the World Water Forum will reflect these discussions that we've had. Okay, from Tanwa Koya. All right, over to you, ma'am.
Okay, so on that note, oh, Barry, did you take a screenshot? Can everyone turn on their camera so we can take a screenshot of everyone that is present?
Beautiful,
and then we can close?
Beautiful. Please, let's talk. There's somebody that wants to talk, Mark Fasson, can we give 30 seconds to just speak before we do that? Mark Fasson.
Okay.
All right, sir, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much from Malawi. I was also at the forum myself.
I think we've lost him. Mark Fasson, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Forward planning. So it's important to start planning early so that at the next forum at such kind of events, much as we have the institutions, NGOs, and the different agencies, but also when you have a national government putting its banner there, it carries a lot of weight, and that's something which I would really want to appeal to my colleagues here in Malawi to see how best at the next forum as Malawi government, we can also be there to showcase what the Malawi government, but also showcasing there. And one other comment I wanted to make was on one of the pavilions which I attended on nature. There was a nature hub. They had a pavilion. There was a lot of discussion about funding and this and that, the water fund. But I liked the presentations which they were also sharing on the need to look at the broader picture when we're talking about water, and the need to consider watersheds, forests, and that kind of approach. Looking outside the box when you look at water issues. And I think for us, that was a very good learning point to say, when we look at water, we look at wash-related issues, we need to consider the source of water and the issue of watershed conservation, forest landscape restoration. It was good to see that they were also showcased at the forum, because most of them, they are often forgotten, but we need also to protect the source of the water. So those were two of my comments, apart from the so many lessons that we learned at the forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir McPherson. Thank you for your contribution.